So, how is everybody? Good? Cool. Me too. So, before I get into my lecture, I wanted to go over a couple of announcements quick. First of all, I made a few edits to the syllabus. So let me pull that up. So the biggest thing I edited was when we're doing a review session. So this week we're talking about capital and resource acquisition. Next week we'll talk about pitching the business in general and an introduction to a process for new business development called the stage gate process. And then on the 31st, we won't have class because of the Cesar Chavez holiday. I agree. And then that following week, we're going to do a test review session for the online exam for this class. We'll also do a review session on your LinkedIn profiles and your professional development plans, which are part of your grade. I've finished my markups on all the professional development plans. There's too many LinkedIn profiles to do individual markups on each one, so I'm going to go over in class what I want you to do to edit your profile, and we'll do that the week of April 3rd, and then that following week we'll have spring break, and the 3 weeks after that I'm going to try and fill as much as possible with guest lecturers. And then whatever time is not spent on guest lecturers, we'll be working on our projects. Make sense? Yes.
So what's
Huh?
the
online exam you can take it today if you wanted, but I haven't done a review session yet. You can take it online anytime between now and the end of the semester.
And you only get one try?
Only one try. Yeah. What's that? So anyway, that is a slight change to the syllabus. We'll go over your LinkedIn profiles and professional development plans, as well as a review session for the test the week of April 3rd. And then that next week will be spring break. Second announcement or question. The posters that I had you develop, if possible, I'd like to have at least one member of the group available to present the poster and talk about what's on it. The awards ceremony where this class is being recognized for service learning is on Wednesday, March 29th from 2 to 4 p.m. in the Student Union multipurpose room. Wednesday, March 29th. 2 to 4 p.m. Who is available at that time? Maybe kinda?
Maybe kind of.
Okay. Hang on one second. Yeah. Well, not up in front of people. People will like walk by the poster, and if they walk by and want an explanation of the poster, then you can give it to them. It'll be a room full of people.
Okay, so it's kind of like back like elementary school with the science fair deal.
Exactly. It's exactly like the elementary school science fair deal. So, is anybody from the Visual Light Studio group available at that time? 2 to 4 p.m. on Wednesday, March 29th? Jimmy?
I think I'll be available.
Okay.
March 29th, right?
Yes, March 29th from 2 to 4 p.m. Emma, anybody from your group available at that time?
I have classes.
Okay. Cole, did you say maybe again?
I get out at 2:15.
Okay.
One of my classes, but I mean, I can probably work it out with work.
Okay. How about how about you guys? One of the two of you available at 2 o'clock on Wednesday the 29th? Huh?
I don't have to go at that time.
You don't, so you could come?
Yeah.
Okay. And then how about the drone group? You have class? 2 to 4 p.m. on Wednesday, March 29th. Okay.
We have practice.
Practice?
Possibly, maybe.
Okay. Tell me your name again. Say again. Okay. Okay, cool. And then finally, I wanted to go over the status of your guys' projects a little bit.
What was that event on the 29th?
It's a like recognition event for service learning, and this class is being featured in that award ceremony.
Okay, so can you get more information later on?
Yeah, I will. I'll follow up with the people that said you might be available.
All right.
Okay, as far as your projects are concerned, due dates. I don't think anybody is here from due dates. Okay. Atrix, I'm still waiting for customer vignettes. Okay. Substance use facility, I coordinated with Leslie over the weekend about the customer vignette interviews. So after class, let's talk briefly about that. Photography studio, I've got. Engineering consulting project, nobody's here from that. Drone project, I've got the customer. Do I have the customer vignettes? Yes, I do. Cool. So the G4 farm labor project, I still need customer vignettes.
You haven't got it?
Not from you guys, no. Ask Nick.
No, I got a text from him.
Okay.
He said.
And then the Vikash app. I haven't gotten your guys' customer vignettes yet. I forget who was doing that part. Who's doing those?
She said I turned it in.
Did you?
Yeah.
Can you email it again?
Yeah.
Thanks. Okay, that's it. So, now on to my lecture. bear with me a second here. So this last lecture of the sort of toolbox of small business management is on investor and resource acquisition. So talking about actually going out and finding investors and capital for your business. There's three main types of capital you can go for immediately. Or three types of non-equity capital that you can go for. Credit card debt and lines of credit. This is how a lot of small businesses start financing their operations, is just with personal credit cards or with a line of credit with the bank. Your access to that is basically just depending on your credit rating and the personal financial situation of you as a business owner. Once you get up and running, you can go for bank debt, which has a lot lower interest rate than most credit cards and lines of credit. Your access or your ability to access that capital is going to be dependent on the assets of the business, financial statements from the business, and your ability to provide a written business plan to the bank. And then finally, grants, which we're going to do an exercise on a little bit on Wednesday, are basically money from government agencies, not-for-profits, corporate foundations, which is allocated for various projects in the society. And if you're able to find a grant where you can partner with an agency or whatever that fulfills the goals of the grant, then this is basically money that it's free money. You don't have to pay it back, and there's no interest or anything. So some of the challenges or downsides of grants are there's a lot of paperwork involved, a lot of bureaucracy, and there's very specific eligibility criteria, which usually mean that you have to partner with a local government agency or with CSUB. You usually have, or with a not-for-profit somewhere in the community. You usually can't, many of these grants you can't apply for by yourself as a small business owner, but if you cooperate with another organization, you could apply for the grant together. So, great source of free cash, but it's complex paperwork-wise and eligibility-wise, which grants you can actually apply for. Another source of capital that you can access relatively quickly and easily is crowdfunding. How many people in here are familiar with the term crowdfunding? Okay, so my lecture is useful. basically, think of it as a guerrilla marketing campaign where you're selling a mix of your normal products and services at promotional prices together with giveaways in exchange for donations. So it's basically a campaign where you're getting people to donate money to your business, and in exchange for those donations, you're giving away gifts. And the gifts that you give away are usually your own services and products at discounted rates, or at promotional rates that give you an extra margin for the capital inflow, and sort of freebies and knickknacks. Yes, Dorian.
Kind of like how they do, I guess, some trade shows, like how some people do it.
It's different than trade shows. It's a campaign on a website like GoFundMe or Kickstarter to bring in donations. So, a couple of things that are important with crowdfunding campaigns. Make sure you have a project plan, and make sure that your fulfillment and your outreach are in place before the campaign starts. So, you're giving away things in exchange for donations. You need to make sure that your ability to give those things away is set up and in place before you start soliciting money. And you need to make sure that you know already who you're reaching out to before you start the campaign. If you don't know who you're looking for when you start the campaign, then it's going to end up generating a big fat zero for funding. So you want to really have an idea of who it is that you're reaching out to, and you want to make sure that you're able to fulfill what it is that you're offering to people before you start. And it's kind of a rule of thumb that if you can get to 20% of your funding goal as soon as possible, based on existing contacts that you know, that's sort of the critical mass that you need in order to get a campaign going. So whatever your goal is for fundraising, think about raising it at least 20% of that number from people that you already know. And then those people will eventually tell friends of theirs who tell friends of theirs, and it all kind of snowballs after that. But 20% is the sort of hurdle that you want to get to in order to be able to get a crowdfunding campaign kicked off. Some good sources for advice and information about crowdfunding campaigns. CrowdCrux is a great website for that. Entrepreneur.com, the magazine's website, has a whole section on crowdfunding. And then we also have some nice webinars from our Small Business Development Center here at CSUB on crowdfunding. I've given you guys links to all three of those here on your information sources. Crowdfunding sites. So there's two different kinds of crowdfunding. There's non-equity crowdfunding and equity crowdfunding. Non-equity crowdfunding is what I just described to you, where you're giving away freebies in exchange for donations to the company. Equity crowdfunding is when you're actually giving away shares of stock in your company in exchange for investment money. And that only became legal to do about a year and a half ago. So the equity crowdfunding market is very new. I have yet to be associated with an equity crowdfunding campaign. It's all very new, and I'm learning the same time you guys are about how equity crowdfunding works. But non-equity crowdfunding is a little bit more well established, and like I said, you're basically giving away freebies in exchange for donations to the company. So some websites that are important for non-equity crowdfunding: Kickstarter, GoFundMe, Indiegogo. I've also given you a link to crowdfunding.com, which lists all kinds of other websites that are good for crowdfunding. And then finally, angel.co, Early Shares, and Grow VC are good equity crowdfunding websites. and a list of a number of other equity crowdfunding websites from CrowdCrux is also listed in a link here. So all of those placed at your disposal. So any crowdfunding campaign has a main page on the internet that is the focal point of the campaign. Very important to craft that page as well as possible to have the message that you want to get across to people come through clearly. It's also very important to have a project plan for your crowdfunding campaign. This looks a lot like a guerrilla marketing campaign. So you'll notice the same guerrilla marketing graphic that I referred to a couple of weeks ago here on the left-hand side, and a basic project plan for how much time everything's going to take and who's going to do what. So you'll notice there at the beginning, first thing that needs to be done is to prepare all the materials, both crowdfunding pages as well as online and offline promotional materials. You'll see each task has an owner. This is an example of a project from some of my students from 2 years ago, was it? Year and a half ago? So who's responsible, what the actual deliverable is, and how much time it's going to take to accomplish. So, and then the deadline for when it's going to be accomplished. So in addition to preparing materials, you've got to do initial outreach to people. You've got to make sure that your fulfillment is in place. There's LinkedIn outreach, Facebook outreach on other forms of social media, word of mouth outreach. There's Google AdWords and Google searches, blog postings around the internet, other online avenues, other websites where you can post announcements and banners and stuff, meetup.com events, and then other events and offline promotions. And the goal here is to basically find champions who are going to say good things about your company, and in addition to donating themselves, they're going to tell other people how great the company is and how they should donate to the company as well. And as you develop a number of champions that are willing to say good things about your company, that's really what it takes to get the crowdfunding campaign snowballing forward. In addition to non-equity investment, there's also sort of traditional equity investors for small businesses. Three types of equity investor that I want to talk about a little bit. First of all, individuals, so friends and family, usually with personal savings over $10,000. If you don't have at least $10,000 in the bank sitting around, you don't probably have enough money to be able to donate or to be able to invest in someone's company. So when you're looking through your friends and family and contacts that you know for people who might want to invest in your company, think about how much money they have in the bank. If they've got less than $10,000, they probably can't afford to invest in your business. If they've got more than $10,000, they're a legitimate candidate to be an investor in your company. Obviously, the higher the personal savings somebody has, the less risky it is for them to peel off a couple grand and put it into your business. So you should also make sure that they get some kind of personal enjoyment or satisfaction out of the business. Just because they're your friends and family, don't expect that they're going to give you money just because they love you. They've got to get something out of it. So it's got to be a business. It's got to be an activity that they find exciting and enjoyable. Otherwise, they're not necessarily going to invest just because they're your friend or your family. partners and in-kind resource providers, larger, more established business partners who have an interest in seeing you succeed can often provide in-kind investments in your company as well as dollar investments. So always important to be on the lookout for larger competitors or suppliers or large buyers of your products and services that are interested in seeing you succeed. The more interest these companies have in seeing you succeed, the more likely they are to want to invest in you. And then finally, there's venture capital and angel investors. The first thing to keep in mind is that venture capital and angel investment almost never happens, especially for what I call lifestyle businesses that are sort of an extension of a personal passion or hobby, but don't have real scalability. So usually it's hard to find venture capital or angel investment for those kind of businesses. However, that being said, keep networking and keep your materials in circulation. So you want to have your elevator pitch and your executive summary out there in circulation with people, because you can't win if you don't play. So it's always important to keep your materials in circulation with venture capitalists and angel investors, even if the probability is low, because you never know what might happen. But important to realize that for most types of businesses in this room, venture capital and angel investors are not a realistic option for the short term, at least. Okay, so very important to have an executive summary, which is basically a one-page summary of your business that you can circulate to investors. It summarizes all the basic element, all the things that you've been doing as your deliverables in this class, your website, your customer vignettes, your competitor profiles. It summarizes the information and all those things in one page. So it's important to have that document available for investors. I want to say something quick about harvest options versus exit options. You always want to be thinking about what happens when this class is done. What happens when the project is done? What is the end goal of the project that you're working on? And there's two types of end goals. There's projects and capabilities that don't interest other people. Those are things that you keep doing and manage yourself. So if every time you tell people about your project or your venture, you hear crickets chirping, then it's probably something that's going to be a hobby, in effect, that you end up managing yourself. That's called a harvest option. And just because it's a hobby doesn't mean it doesn't generate cash. But if you can't get other people excited about the business, then it's probably not going to be something that scales up and brings in investors and other managers. Capabilities and projects that interest other people are things that you can sell and have other people manage. So if you talk about your business and you find a lot of people saying, "Oh yeah, wow, that's cool, that's a good idea, I'd like to be a part of that," that's what you call an exit strategy, and it involves eventually having investors come in and buy part of your firm. But it's called an exit strategy, but it's an investment in your company, but it may or may not involve the actual exchange of cash. There may be other ways the transaction happens instead of a cash investment in your company. Information sources for capital acquisition. Always good to network with your friends and family. LinkedIn is a great source of information. Small business loans. I've given you a link here to some more information about small business loans from the SBA, and then Google is also a great source of information for capital acquisition. Information sources for grants. I've listed a number of websites here, in particular grants.gov and grantwatch.com. So the second and the last are particularly good. Grants.gov is all federal grants from the federal government, and grantwatch.com actually includes grants from foundations and corporations, in addition to state and local government grants. They also cover federal stuff, but in addition to the federal stuff, they cover state and local government grants, as well as nonprofits and corporate grants. And then finally, information sources for investors. Tech Coast Angels, Angel Capital Association, and fundingpost.com are all great sources of information. Tech Coast Angels, in particular, is a great source of information about what investors are looking for. They have a great section of the website describing the kinds of ventures they invest in. It's a really great description of how to make your business appealing for investors. Angel Capital Association is basically a association of associations that has lists of all of the different angel investment organizations all across the country. And then finally, fundingpost.com is kind of like LinkedIn or Facebook type social media platform, but for investing. So you put together a profile of your company, circulate it out in the marketplace, and people can approach you about investment based on the profile that you provided. It's about 11:36 right now, and I have two webinars that I wanted to show, but I think instead of showing them today, because it's going to run over time a bit, I'm going to cut things short today and show the webinars first thing on Wednesday before we do our exercise. Okay, so that's it for class today. On Wednesday, I will show the webinars, and then we'll do an exercise on grant funding and go from there. So that's it for everybody except the substance use facility, the Inspire group. I wanted to coordinate with you guys quick, but otherwise everybody else can go. I got it.
Can I use it for the industry analysis, or you don't want, or you want like a paper?
I want you to use. Where did you find that?
On Google. I just looked up examples, and I thought that was like the best one.
I want you to open up the. I want you to open up the industry profile.
Oh, you have one.
For photography.
Okay.
And I want you to read through it
Okay.
and cherry pick information. So copy and paste
Okay.
into a Word document.
Okay.
So that's nice, but it's not exactly what I wanted.
Okay.
Okay?
Got it.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, I want to ask you, Professor. You mentioned March 29th from 2 to 4. It's going to be not in the class?
No, it's going to be in another location.
It's at the school? Oh, at the student union.
Yeah.
So I'm going to present it in front of the people?
Well, there'll be people walking around. So there'll be posters for each of the projects, and people can walk around and look at the poster, and then you'll stand next to the poster, and if they have any questions, you can answer questions.
All right, cool. So.
But I'll give you more information about it later.
All right, and I wanna. Okay. All right. And I really apologize for the business development. I have it on my laptop. But
Okay.
the only problem that I'm facing, I'm trying to download it and I emailed it to myself again and I couldn't open the file. So I'm going to go out to the library now and try to like copy the things and put it on the Word so I can email it to you.
Okay,
But I hope you would. I know it's late, so I'm really sorry. about
that's
it.
okay.
All right.
Thanks for letting me know.
Yes, sir, I apologize. Mondays just keep getting harder.
That's okay. I know that you got like that other class across campus.
It's yeah. Well, there's that one, but then there's the. I don't know if I told you about the Canary. Yeah, you told you the Canary sculpture competition. It's this Saturday, and oh god, it's crazy. 110 people so far. It's like 2 years in planning, and the last 2 months have been just the execution of it.